Our next keynote speaker has to tell us about the world's best events. Please welcome the Global Managing Director of Prestigious Venues to stage, Mr. Habib Amir.
Thank you. My name is Habib Amir from Prestigious Venues. Now that's here. I'm wondering why we're all sitting at the back. We're all in events industry and shying away at the back there. So if anybody feels like they should come forward to experience the extraordinary events I'm about to share with you, please do. Otherwise, that's fine. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with so many wonderful people at Titanic Hotels. So many wonderful people, so many great conversations already. I must say a big thank you already to the International Meissen Wedding Forum for organizing this, but also for all the partners who have made all the wonderful surprises, technology, and all sorts of fun gadgets happen. So thank you very much. The topic of my speech is the world's best events. Now, I know that we all here event professionals from various industries and obviously amazing at events yourselves, so you might wonder what it is about me that perhaps qualifies me to tell you a little bit about the world's best events. And so what I'll do is, I think there's a slight delay. Oh, there we go. It is the simple fact that we host a lot of events. And I think it might be a good idea for us to share thoughts and ideas later on, but we host something like 870 events a year, where just to give you a sort of brief idea, 18,500 event bookers use the Prestigious Venues platform globally to book their events. We're based in London, but we focus on 23 markets, but we book events elsewhere as well. The majority of our events are gala dinners, followed by conferences and product launches. We do some weddings as well, but that's a small minority. So the sector from where our clients come from is the finance, followed by retail and law. Now we also have an awards program in London called Prestigious Star Awards, and we reviewed through that over 2,000 venues. And we look for the quality of the space of the rooms, the performance of the service, and the reputation of the venue as a whole over the years. So how do we work? Just to briefly give you an idea for what Prestigious Venues does exactly, is that we're a platform and strategic consultancy that helps hotels or venues around the world turn prospective event bookers into repeat clients. And you might wonder, oh, this is not a simple, straightforward process, but we've sort of boiled it down to these 4 steps, is that we use marketing automation to promote the event spaces, so the venue awareness. Then we nurture their interest through detailed conversations about those venues. We then provide them with the various options of the different venues for that specific event brief. And once they've decided, we help them with the booking process, and we also then continue to gather the feedback about those events. So our key function really is to provide them with the event proposals for the ballrooms. So we saw that empty space where globally across, so for instance, if you're a client in New York wanting to book a high caliber gala dinner in Sydney, it's a complex matter, especially in the financial industry. So we're trusted in that industry to do that, and that's what we do as a whole. So now that I've given you a bit of background about me, now to the world's best events. So what are the key characteristics about the world's best events? Of course, there are so many amazing events. It's a somewhat subjective area for me to, or for anyone to claim that these are the world's best events. So we've just obviously defined the 10 key things that might be useful for finding a criteria. So here we go. I thought it would be rude not to include this because relevance is key and IMWF is relevant. So these are the top 10 characteristics that all of the world's best events share in common. And I think the fact that we are all in the events industry, whether weddings or MICE, we share something in common, and bringing us all here together, we will always make it successful, no matter what part of the event management goes wrong, or there's delay, or there's that. So that relevance is key for an event. Informative, and a great example of this is TED Talks, which has become one of the key events for spreading ideas. The world's greatest events, the world's best events are immersive. And a great example of this is the BBC Proms, where a multi-sensory experience is provided every time and every year. Exciting. Now, this is the Formula One Grand Prix, and it is, in fact, the only event where listening to loud engine sound somehow excites people. So I'm sure there are some enthusiasts amongst you, but that criteria or that quality of an event is, of course, key. Pioneering, and a good example of this is the Tesla space launch, where Elon Musk recently shot us the new Tesla Roadster into space, which became the first car to orbit the Earth. And the amazing thing about it was the fact that on Earth, of course, all the people could track the movement of the car around the Earth's orbit. So that sort of pioneering, or the new, is something quite essential. The world's best events are reputable. So the fact that they are hosted year on year and they improve and they create that reputation makes a big difference. And as you probably know, most events in their first year or first few years don't quite build that traction. The world's best events are interactive. A good example is the Royal Ascot, where the very premise of the event is that the guests or the attendees get to engage with the system, in this case through the bidding on races and the various functions. The world's best events are timeless. This is the Vienna Ball, which has upheld the fundamentals or sort of the quintessential art of ballroom dancing for over a century, and they do it better than anywhere else in the world. And the world's best events are emotionally engaging. And this is the royal wedding, well, not this recent royal wedding, the previous one, but it engages people emotionally. I think some of the speakers earlier mentioned the emotional engagement. It is absolutely key, that quality across any event, but for the royal wedding, it attracted 45 million viewers simultaneously within that slot, and of course with the monarchy. Now, last but not least, the world's best events are inspiring. And the greatest example is the Olympic Games. Now, the Olympic Games really, the sporting spirit of the Olympic Games brings out the best in the athletes that take part and also the attendees or the guests that are there. So I guess the key question is, across all of these events and across all of these qualities of these events, what are the various things that we can integrate within the MICE events or across weddings or across any sector? How do we bring that, how do we bring those qualities to these events? And of course, these are transferable, in the last few years, we've been hosting a series of events that are intended for transferring these qualities to smaller industry events. And of course, I couldn't resist include a picture of myself in there, being the vain person I am. So this is one of the events called Prestigious Star Awards, which encourages and promotes and celebrates the world's best venues. And so Prestigious Star Awards is one program which does this, a global awards program, and it celebrates the world's best venues across the world that have hosted unforgettable events. And the Best Events in the World is a program that celebrates the best events hosted at a prestigious venue. So they both work well together. This is a phenomenal program in the sense that all these luxury resorts, venues across the world host the most amazing events, but they're generally kept quiet. And so that the learnings from them don't really go across to anybody else. When we created this program, there was client confidentiality, there was all sorts of stuff that hotels said, no, we can't share such and such. So what we ended up doing is to create an easy program for them to say to clients, we will respect the confidentiality. In some cases, they remove the brand name from it. In other cases, they ask the client, and they were happy to provide these case studies. So this year, we received over 200 entries for the best events. And I'm going to share really briefly just 10, flick through some of the best ones, or actually quite at random. So University of Cambridge alumni dinner at Banqueting House, former palace in London. This was hosted with Stephen Fry and Sir David Attenborough, and they used projection mapping to effectively bring the venue to life, and also worked with the theme of the event. And it was a video effectively moving across the dinner, so it kind of amplified the whole dining experience. Second is the Girl on the Moon, hosted at Qasr Al Sarab. Now this is a desert resort in the UAE, which hosted a fashion event highlighting the top 100 pieces of one of the fashion designers in the UAE. Next was the Moe and Chandon Ice Party, hosted at Intercontinental Amsterdam. And the fantastic thing about this event was that they created an artificial island on the Amstel River. Now, this was to celebrate the launch of the Moe Ice, or Moe Chandon Ice. Again, another fantastic event. Fourth was the wedding ceremony and reception hosted at Blenheim Palace. Now, this is a fantastic venue, of course, part of the English heritage, historic, and of course, Sir Winston Churchill was born there. So it adds an immediate sense of significance to the event. Then we had a Pure Life Experiences event, which was hosted at Sofitel Marrakesh. And this, I'm sure some of you have already been to this. It's hosted for the luxury travel industry, and experiential sort of travel. And they utilized sort of extravagant entertainment in context with Marrakesh to amplify the event experience. Next was the Nina Badrick concert, hosted at Castle Otosik in Slovenia. A very exclusive and beautiful castle brought together an intimate crowd of high-profile people in Slovenia who celebrated over lovely food, but the experience was intimate. Then there was the relaunch event for the Natural History Museum. They launched, and this is London, they launched the new blue whale skeleton, and once again, it attracted global media, but it also attracted high-profile celebrities, including Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Cambridge. Number 8 is the Michelin Guide Bangkok 2018 Gala, hosted at the Siam Kempinski Hotel in Bangkok. Now, the wonderful thing about this event was the fact that they brought together chefs and some of the top people in the food and culinary experience, and so it was all of the reviews and everything about it were about making the event immersive through food. Number 9 is an international corporate conference at the Calgary Castle in Scotland. Now this was a 4-day conference, and they took over the entire venue. It was a series of various games, table tennis championships, and mini this and that. And this was a Game of Thrones style dinner hosted there with the Scottish touch. So number 10, last but not least, is the Blue Experience venue launch at Velimar, Croatia. This was obviously a beautiful venue with, again, a very good guest list at an outstanding setting. So what is it really about these events that inspires us, and what is it about the earlier events that we said about the global events? What are the qualities, and how can we integrate them into our events? Really, the big thing what Nesip mentioned in his keynote speech downstairs was to dream the big dream. And that is really the crux of it all, because most events start to look exactly the same as the other. So to dream the big dream, it's in capitals because that's the most important. The rest is obviously, you all know this already, which is set the goal, define your objectives, create the right strategy, outline your tactics in detail, and of course, it wouldn't work, none of it would work without follow-through. So you actually have to get the staff on, your people to actually execute it. But what is it above all of this? What is it that makes the world's best events? For us as prestigious venues, and as I said earlier in the talk, it's a subjective area, so for everyone the best events are different. For us as prestigious venues, we feel that the world's best events are memorable. If you can remember those moments that you shared, that makes the world's biggest difference. The world's best events are entertaining, and they are prestigious. Now, they're memorable because of the overall impression they make on us. They're entertaining because of the experience that we connect with, or the event experience that we connect with. And they're prestigious because the prestige and the grandeur of the host venue adds context and significance to the event. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That was me, Habib Amir. And I look forward to, thank you. I look forward to meeting you all downstairs at the bar throughout the event. Please say hello if you see me. I would love to meet you all, and the drinks are on me.
Thank you so much.